and welcome back to Career Gate, the podcast that opens doors to careers with purpose, passion, and preparation. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome a very special guest, Ruchi Jain. She's not just a brilliant professional, but also a friend and colleague whose journey in the world of education has been nothing short of inspiring. Ruchi is a Delta qualified ESL trainer, a seasoned corporate trainer, a dedicated teacher educator, and a Cambridge Language Assessor. With her strong foundation in language teaching and her experience across classrooms and boardrooms, she brings a rare blend of academic rigor and real-world insight. Whether she's coaching young learners, training teachers, or helping professionals communicate more effectively at work, Ruchi leads with clarity, empathy, and a deep understanding of how language shapes opportunities. So if you are curious about what it takes to thrive in the field of English language learning, or how language can be your passport to global careers, this conversation is just for you. All right, so let's dive in. In today's episode, we are going to talk about the importance of cover letters, which is not always given that much importance because a lot of people are constantly talking about how important your resume is. But cover letters are also equally, if not more, important. All right. So welcome to our podcast, Ruchi. And
thank you.
You're welcome. And I would like to open this discussion with the first question, which is on my list, and that is, what is a cover letter, in your opinion?
Before I answer that, thank you for the delightful introduction.
You're welcome.
And we'll swing back into on the topic.
Yeah.
So, cover letter basically is, to put it simply, is basically your chance to tell a story, your story to the recruiter. It's not a formality. It's not something that you have to do because everybody does it. It's a personal pitch. Like you put it, you're building your own brand. You're selling your story. You're advertising yourself. You need to show to the recruiter why you fit in their square peg, if you want to put it like that. Why you are the best fit. And that's what cover letter does.
All right. And how can somebody differentiate between a resume and a cover letter? What are the basic differences between these two?
Many people, when they write their resume, they put bullet points, they list things, they use tabular formats. But a cover letter, as you can see in very basic difference if you see between the both. It's a letter that you're writing to somebody. You're writing to a recruiting manager, you're writing to an HR manager, you're writing to a manager, or whoever. If you know the person's name you may not know the person's name, that's irrelevant. But it's a letter that you're writing and you are communicating kind of one-way talking to the person who's reading your letter. Whereas a resume is just facts. That's how I look at it. It's fact. You're listing things. You're telling me when you did what. But it doesn't quite showcase your skill. Whereas a cover letter is a place where you can showcase your passion, your skill, your communication, everything that a resume will not do.
Interesting. And do you think a cover letter needs to be personalized? Is it important?
Of course, because your cover letter is your cover letter, and for that specific position, it cannot be your cover letter for any position, and it cannot be somebody else's cover letter, of course. So it has to be your cover letter for a specific position. You need to personalize it. You need to fit how you fit in the job that you're applying for.
Got it. What would you say is the importance of a cover letter? Because not everybody, while applying for a job, would send in their cover letter along with their resume. So for those who are listening and those who are trying to decipher the importance of a cover letter, what do you think would be the importance of it? why should they value it?
See, if the cover letter lets you show your passion for the subject, for the topic, for the position that you're applying for, chances are you're probably in the same field or you like the same thing that the company is doing. And it's a chance to showcase your communication skills. So if communication is one of the job criteria, this is your chance to show that you can communicate, isn't it? So it's a chance to showcase your personality, it's a chance to showcase your skills. And of course, it's a chance to showcase, address the gaps that you have in your careers in two ways. If you're already a professional and there's a gap, you can use that letter to address it. Because if you feel that is going to be an impediment in the interview, you address it beforehand, you kind of preempt the strike, if you may. However, if you're inexperienced and you're a fresh graduate, then you can use that opportunity to say, while I understand I don't have that experience, but look, I was an intern, or I did a project, or I served as a member of council in the college, I did XYZ, and therefore these are transferable skills. So you can talk about those. And if you mention something that the company is working on, for example, in the letter you say, well, I'm really interested in the project that the company is engaged with, XYZ company, the second company, then you show that you've done your homework. So this way, the recruiter knows that who you are, what's your personality. They understand that you know your limitations and your strengths because you've addressed your gap. And they also know that you like the company, you've done your homework, you've taken the trouble to find out about the job, you've taken the trouble to find out about the company itself. So I think cover letter is important.
Would it be safe to say then that a cover letter gives context to your resume?
Of course. It gives you that space to talk to the recruiter before the interview. So before they ask you anything, if there's something that you would like to share and you think you may not get an opportunity during the interview, then that's where you share it. And why not?
So it's like a pitch. It's like an advert that's doing your bidding. So you're kind of selling yourself out there like a product.
Of course, because you've applied for the job. Chances are other people have applied it, maybe your own classmate. So how do you differentiate? You have the same set of degrees, you have the same set of certificates. What is different about you? That's the chance. That is the opportunity that you need to use your cover letter to showcase the difference. How do you distinguish yourself? How do you stand out in the crowd?
When do you think a person should send in a cover letter? Would you say that under these circumstances, a person needs to send a cover letter, or would you say that it's imperative that whichever job you're applying for, along with your resume, attach the cover letter nonetheless? What do you think?
See, if you're applying online and there's a scope to add something, upload a file, then of course you should write a cover letter for that particular application. Say, for example, there's an application form. In many companies, they do that. There's an application form, but there's a space for a long text. Then you should add in bits from your cover letter that you think should be highlighted there on that application. Otherwise, if you've seen an advert, you've seen the position of being vacant in a newspaper or a magazine or wherever, and maybe you're even on LinkedIn or wherever, then you should write a cover letter. That's how I feel about it.
Right. Like a lot of these organizations, when they're advertising for a position, especially something that I have come across personally on LinkedIn, is that they would just have a Google form, which you need to fill out, and maybe you just have one opportunity there to submit or attach your resume. So in a situation like that, what would you advise somebody to?
So if there's no scope to add anything, they just want you to fill in the facts and they just want you to upload the resume. In that particular instance, you don't, but maybe there is an email address. You can always add a cover letter and an email address saying, look, I had already applied on XYZ platform or filled up the form, but however, I feel that I need to tell you something and I feel it's important. I'm really interested in the job and that's why I'm writing. I know I filled the form, but please listen to what I have to say, then why not?
Right. Makes sense. Okay. All right. I think, in my opinion, the next important area or subtopic that we can get into is how to structure a cover letter, because clearly, like you were mentioning, that a resume is a list of facts and quote unquote, it's mainly a list, right? So a cover letter, as the name suggests, would probably not just be a set of lists, but it would be a letter. So structurally, how would the two look different, or how would somebody format them different?
I mean, you would see a lot of you can see tables, you can see bullet points, you can see lists. Maybe you'll see a photograph on the resume, or maybe somebody has made a resume to look like a letterhead, because you have these templates available on MS Word. That's the kind of application that most people use. However, the cover letter, as the name suggests, is a letter. So it should have a header, salutation, date, of course, your name, the company's name where you're applying, the address of the company, if you know, all those things. It should look like a letter.
So how do you think a person should start that letter?
So you have your date right there on the top, and you have the name of the company. Say the name of the company is Elta Global, so you would write to Elta Global.
Yeah.
The hiring manager, to the hiring manager, Elta Global, Kolkata, and you write the address of Elta Global. And then you start like you would start any other letter. Dear Miss Roy, if they know your name, or if you have a recruiting manager that they want to write to, then they should write like that. Dear recruiting manager, or dear hiring manager, or dear HR manager. Just dear HR manager is good enough. But don't write something like whom it may concern or something. It's outdated. It's something that was used many years ago. When I was leaving my school, I got a character certificate. The principal had written to whom it may concern. Right. And we could use it to transfer to next school, or maybe the college that we went to. We would showcase that, look, my principal has recommended me, and it would have to whom so it may concern. But I don't think it's relevant now. It's something that maybe in India it is used more than anywhere else in the world. But even in India now, it's not needed. It's very old-fashioned, outdated. It doesn't serve the purpose, because you are writing to a recruiting manager. You're writing to a company. You know who you're writing to. So it can't be whomsoever it may concern.
Right. I think this is for the audience, actually. What Ruchi mentioned right now can, in fact, open up a huge discussion about the nature of language and how it evolves over time. So, like she said, that this expression is outdated, and I think a lot of us have come across emails, most importantly, where we see all of these outdated expressions. So it's important to make a note of that. I mean, we can have another session where we can talk about and discuss all of these outdated English expressions. And the nature, I mean, it's true for any language for that matter, actually, that it evolves over time, it transforms.
True. You become more communicative. It's basically getting the communication across. It's no longer that you're using, really big words, rare frequency words. You don't need to use that. Use something that everybody would understand. Not everybody is Shashi Tharoor, and that's fine.
Well said. Yeah. Okay. So we started with how to greet the person who is reading the letter, or the recipient of the letter. What would you say should be the content of the first paragraph? How can a person start?
So in the introduction, the purpose of writing the letter is to showcase your passion, to showcase where you're writing, to whom you're writing, why you're writing. I think we should just start with, I'm excited to apply for this XYZ position in the company. I have done my, say, BCom. And I'm interested in your company's collaborations, or I'm interested in what the company is doing, and I think I can add value to what your company is doing, and therefore I wish to apply for this position. I mean, it depends on your confidence. If you want to add that I'm going to add value right in the beginning. But essentially what you're saying is, I'm applying because I'm excited. I fit in the role in terms of I have the skill or the experience or the certificate, and I know what your company is doing. So
is this the chance where we can showcase that we have done the research and maybe validate with some
It's not a big paragraph. It's not a ton of writing. It's just a few lines, but you blend that message. You use the language to get your message across. So a lot of time when companies advertise, they tell you that maybe this position is for this XYZ project that we are engaged with, or that we want to recruit you for a new project that we're about to start in, say, green energies or whatever. So whatever little hint that you get from that advertisement, you capitalize there. And you say, well, I understand that you're looking for a person who's going to fit into this new project, and I'm really excited about it, and therefore you write it.
Yeah. So I think that nicely sort of summarizes what I was about to say. So I was trying to move on to the next paragraph from this. How do we do that?
So that's your introduction. You said, I'm interested in the job. And the next thing, the next couple of paragraphs, I think you should highlight your skill. So you can say something like, in my final year, I was an intern, because that's part of your college studies maybe. So I was an intern and I was doing something related to the field of the subject that you were engaged in. And I did XYZ thing. And I think, even though my experience is small, I've learned a lot, and I think I can add value to the company where I'm applying, and I have the skills where I can perform XYZ things. And you will get this information from the job description itself. So you basically link your skills with the skills that the job has already specified. So you make that connections in 2 paragraphs. So pick up any 2 skills that you feel that is really, really your strength, and you highlight it then and there in that letter. So paragraph 2 is skill number 1, paragraph 3 is skill number 2, and you kind of link it with the company. So something like, if you're into digital marketing, I've used Canva, or I can use Pexels or whatever. I can do video editing, or I can do accounting. I know Tally. Or if you're a designer, then you can say that I've done work with NIFD graduates and professors, or I've worked with Ritu Kumar and I know how things are done. So you can highlight that. You can say I was an intern. I didn't earn anything, but I have that valuable experience, or I have the exposure at least.
So the takeaway is important. That's what I'm understanding from what you're saying. So it's not just about how big that role was or where I did it, but more than what exactly I learned and how can I add that value to this particular position.
Yeah.
So making that connection.
Yes, making the connection. What I've learned and how I can use my learning in the company that I'm applying for.
Right. So before I move on to the next paragraph, or how we can structure the next paragraph, I just want to make a point here, and I think you would agree. So the fact that you are constantly saying that you go back to the job advert and you try to build those connections means that no 2 cover letters can be the same.
No, absolutely not. That would be foolish.
Right.
Absolutely not. You can't have the same cover letter going in for 2 different jobs. You cannot. Just as you can't steal somebody else's cover letter, you can't steal your own cover letter for another set of skills. So it's not done, because every company is different. The position is different. The position of the company is different in the market. The skill set that somebody is looking, say for example, a big company is looking for, might be slightly different from somebody who's just a CEO of a startup. So you don't know what exactly are they looking for, and it can't be same.
Okay. Right, now let's move on to the final paragraph or the closing paragraph of the cover letter. So now that I've introduced myself, I've spoken about my experience, my skill sets, a bit of experience that I have gathered if I'm a fresher in my school or college, in the educational institutions that I've studied in. Now, how do I close the circle? Like, I've said so many things. Now, how do I put it together? How do I summarize and clinch the deal?
Say another point, if you don't have the experience, you can always say, well, I understand I don't have 5 years of experience that you have specified, but however, because I've done XYZ certification or I have XYZ skill, I feel that I can really pick up the next set of skills, such as 1, 2, and 3 that you can understand from looking at the job description. I can really pick up on this. I'm interested in this field. I understand I don't have it right now, but I'm really a quick study. I really look forward to learning from it, and I can assure you that I can work hard. And you round that information up in the last paragraph saying, well, as I just, something like, I'm not only just a quick study, but I believe in serving people, or I believe in sustainability or whatever. And you align your philosophy with the philosophy or the value or the behaviors of the company. And you round that letter, you finish that letter up with a nice sentence saying that, I'm really interested in your commitment to sustainable products. And I feel that my passion, my education, my skills help me to understand this grave subject, and I can add value to that. And I really look forward to meeting you, or I would love to have an interview at your convenience anytime. So thank you for giving me the time. Thank you for considering my letter. That sort of a thing, and you finish it off.
Right. So from the examples that you were giving, Ruchi, something struck me was about the tonality. So when I'm listening to you, it feels like somebody's speaking with me. Somebody's talking to me, maybe across a table. So are you trying to say that the tonality of a cover letter should not be extremely formal? Is that what you're saying?
It should be good language, and it should fit the purpose of the letter. So I'm not writing to my friend, so it cannot be a friendly letter. Hi Debs, how are you doing? Come, let's chat. It can't be like that.
Sure.
And it can't be very, very formal, and you can't have these big words like we mentioned, because then it sounds very artificial. There has to be a right balance. Good language, simple language, clear language. And of course, you're talking to probably somebody senior, because this person is employed. If he's a hiring manager or an HR manager, he or she would be slightly senior, would have XYZ experience. So you're already talking to somebody who's experienced, who knows what they're looking for. So it's good to use a language that is respectful, that is warm, that is friendly, that sounds that conveys your excitement. It also conveys that you understand what you're saying. It's not superfluous. You're not just saying, oh, I know everything, or I don't know anything, I'm here to learn, please give me an opportunity to learn from your company. It can't be this way or that way. There has to be a right balance. So the tonality, as you said, the right language, the right tone, the right choice of words is very important.
Right. So how can we make a cover letter stand out? Because initially you were talking about, perhaps your classmates are also applying for the same position. So if multiple people are applying for the same position, probably from the same cohort for that matter, how do I make my cover letter unique, and how can I make it stand out?
Well, that is the task, isn't it? You need to think through. So what do you have that you can bring to the table? So if you really think through, you look at your strengths, you look at the areas where you need to work on, you look at what the company has advertised, You look at what the company wants from you. What are the skill set that they're looking for? What is the project that they're working on? What are the past project that they worked on? And if you look at the company's website, maybe you can look at the teams that they work. You can look LinkedIn, and you can see people who work in that company. You will get a lot of information which will help you form a kind of a bridge between you and the company. And that's what you need to do, is basically build that bridge with the help of research. So if you don't have a job, you want a job, then, well, your hard work should be in the research. How you frame your letter. What have you found out about your company? What have you picked up that can showcase that, look, you have XYZ and I have XYZ, and therefore we fit together. That's the job.
You stole my question again. So I was about to ask why researching about the company is so important, but you've already answered that. And that, of course, showcases in the cover letter.
Yeah, so people don't think through sometimes. So you write something very general. Oh, I'm interested in a job. I saw your advert in this XYZ newspaper. Please consider my application. Versus somebody who says, look, I know you've worked on 5 projects. I understand the value of time, or I understand how important designs are in this particular field, or how important mathematics is in this job, and I'm very good at it. I understand the challenges. I understand the strengths. I can see potential of movement. I can see I can rise up the ladder. But I also realize that there are a lot of things that I need to learn. So here you have somebody who can analyze the problem per se, and somebody else who's just saying, please take me. So chances are the person who's given the thought, done the research work, would probably get a chance at the interview at least.
Right. Okay, so finally, how do we sign off the cover letter? What's the best way to do that?
Yes, I mean, because it's a formal letter, sort of, right? It's not a friendly letter. You can't say, lovely chatting with you, tata, bye love. You can't do that. The best way and the most simple way to do it is you write sincerely, Ruchi Jain, or sincerely Debarati, and you finish off that letter. Keep it simple, professional, write sincerely. You can't go wrong with that.
All right. Can we write faithfully, or is that not appropriate?
Sincerely is better.
Okay. Yours sincerely, you mean?
Yours sincerely, yes.
All right. Now, another important aspect is about the mistakes that most people make with cover letters. And I'm going to start off, because this is something that I've been wanting to chat with you, wanted to discuss with you quite some time, is there's an over-reliance on ChatGPT these days, I feel. And what do you think a person should do? Should they blindly copy what ChatGPT is producing? Should they know better? Should they instruct ChatGPT to produce something that is to their exact requirements? How do you think somebody should go about it?
We stressed upon research, right? And I think AI is a great tool for research. You can ask ChatGPT for help, for answers to your queries. You'll feel more confident once you've done your research, but that's where you draw the line. You've done your research, you've read what ChatGPT has to say. Everything is fine till this point in time, but you would not want to copy it, right? Don't copy things directly from ChatGPT. You read that things, maybe there's a mistake with ChatGPT's information. Maybe it's outdated. It could be rare chances, but it is possible. Also, a lot of context that ChatGPT might use would be foreign because they're not produced in India. So if you're looking at the Indian context, then you need to check whether it fits in the Indian context. A lot of times ChatGPT uses dollars and language as well that fits in the American context or the European context. It will not fit in with us. So you have LLC that the Americans use, but we use private limited company. And so even the words are different. So you need to look at it very carefully. In Hindi, we say nakal ke liye bhi akal chahiye. So if you're copying, you better read what you've copied. Don't just copy and copy paste and just write it for me. Because a lot of times the ChatGPT is talking to you. the user who's using ChatGPT. And ChatGPT will have a lot of instructions built within the text that they have written. You need to be careful whether you're copying the instruction that ChatGPT is giving you in the cover letter as well, or whatever that you're writing. So you need to beware. You need to be careful with what you're doing with ChatGPT. By all means, use it. It's there already. Everybody's using it. You should use it as well, but you can't copy.
That reminds me. So I keep getting resumes and cover letters when people are applying for a job with Global, and I have noticed that they have copy pasted without reading it, because there are sections which says insert date or insert name of the company or insert your name. They have copy pasted it just like that without even inserting their name or the date or the name of the company or the job role that they're applying for, which makes me laugh. But yeah, I mean, it just corroborates what you're saying. And also ChatGPT takes references, and sometimes it cites those, be it LinkedIn, be it Forbes, be it Wikipedia, whatever they're taking the information from. They cite
25 pages of Wikipedia.
Right? Yeah. So sometimes even that is part, or that is a content of the resume or the cover letter that has come in. So yeah, I totally get what you're saying. It's very important that you do not blindly copy paste it.
Use that opportunity. If the ChatGPT is giving you the source, go to the source. Why don't you read it? I mean, people always have time to read a few more articles. So just read the source. Go to the source that ChatGPT is using. Read it for yourself. See if there's something ChatGPT has missed, and that's useful to you.
Also, when we were talking about tonality of the cover letter, I think it's important to sort of build that bridge as well, that the language that ChatGPT is using may not be your language. It probably will not be your language. So when I'm called for the interview, I will have to speak. ChatGPT will not be able to help me at that time.
Exactly.
Right? So that huge gap should not be evident.
Yeah, so if ChatGPT is using a lot of American language style, then and your language is Indian, then the person sitting in the interviewer's seat would know that this doesn't match. There's something wrong, and you lose your job there. You will not get it. They are experienced people who are sitting behind the desk, and we have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, totally. Now my last question.
There's just one more thing. Can I add to that?
Yes,
since we're talking about mistakes, is something that happens with me every time. The typos. So when you're typing, so there's just spelling mistake, there's a comma missing, or the space is not proper, especially with the brackets. So where you need to put in a space with the brackets. So you need to make sure that you've proofread your letter before you send it. And of course, the language, as we said, you have to be careful with the language. Friendly, professional, that's good enough.
Right. So let's not copy paste from ChatGPT as is. Let's research about the company and prove it in the letter by adding facts, maybe, or referring to certain projects that the company has worked in and how we align. Sticking to the JD, sticking to the job description,
very important,
and how that fits within the scope of the organization. Always using real life examples, things that you bring to the table, the values that you can add.
Stick to the truth.
Yeah, very important, I think. Do you think so? If somebody wants to fake it a little bit, what are the chances that the person is going to get caught?
They would know. I mean, so where do you draw a line? Till what point you can fake it? So in this question, you faked it, but there may be something in the next question, maybe something 3 questions down the line where you will be caught. And of course, the person sitting behind the desk would understand if it's inconsistent or if you've overachieved. You've said, I've done wonders, but in this particular field, it is not possible to do that at that stage in your career.
Right.
What happens then? And cover letters are just something that you were talking about. It reminded me of another point that, when you talked about researching the company, well, if one of the criteria is that a person should be able to research a topic or should have a strong command or should have a strong written and spoken communication, well, that's the opportunity again to showcase that you've done the research, you've researched a company, and the fact that you have strong language fluency in writing and you're great at speaking. That's your chance to show it in the letter itself.
We also speak an awful lot about personal branding these days. So do you think a cover letter can help me achieve or create that personal brand when I'm writing?
Yeah. Yes. So when we talk, we show our personalities in a way. The way you talk is different from the way I talk.
Sure.
Right? So the way you write is different from the way I write. So when you write, you are showing yourself what choice of words, how you present it, what information you put in first, what information you put in second. It shows your thinking. It shows how you think. You are building kind of a picture of yourself in that letter. And somebody who's experienced, probably has read many cover letters, would be able to understand what you're presenting. So you are building a brand. So think of what image you wish to project and stick to the truth. This is how you will be in the interview. This is how you will be in the job.
Right.
So it's better to, be yourself. I mean, it sounds cliched, but just be yourself, because that is when you're most truthful. That is when you feel most confident.
Right. Your most authentic self.
Yes. True.
All right. Great. Would you like to leave our audience with some final tips, maybe, or certain pointers that absolutely are non-negotiable when it comes to cover letters?
Well, you research your company, absolutely must. We can't tell you about it enough. Then you use the language that they've used in the job description. That's the most basic and that most clever way of bridging that gap and making that bridge. You show enthusiasm that I'm eager to contribute, or I'm really excited, I'm really happy, or coding makes me the most happiest person in the world. Well, you don't say that, you don't use that language, but you say, well, coding is something that I really look forward to. It kind of is my strong forte. You show, you convey that you're interested in the job. And if you feel confident, maybe you haven't heard from the company 10 days, 5 days, 10 days, whatever, then if you feel confident, then you write another letter saying, well, I was really looking forward to an interview. Maybe you missed my cover letter. I would like to say that I really wish to apply for the job again if you want to. But this will only happen if you feel confident that the first cover letter you sent was really good. You are the right person that fits the job, and the company should look at you. Then you have the confidence to say, well, look, you missed me. I'm here. I really want a chance.
Yeah, again, I think the authenticity shines through the way you're saying it, even in the follow-up email that a person can send.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right. That was lovely talking with you, Ruchi. I think those are some brilliant tips that can not just help somebody who is an absolute fresher, but also somebody who may have applied for jobs in the past, but may not have received a call or may not have been able to make a mark, and they want a fresh start. So I think it would be invaluable, the tips that you shared with us this evening. And I can't thank you enough, boss, for your time. And I would love to have you back on our show, because you and I can just keep going. Right?
Thank you for the opportunity, Dev. That was really lovely talking to you. I hope it adds value to people who are listening to us. And yes, you can call me anytime you want. I had a wonderful, wonderful time.
Thank you so much, Ben. Thank you so much. And I would love to talk with you again. I'd love to have you
Yes,
back.
sure, anytime.
All right. See ya, man.
All right then. See you. Bye.